I saw a video recently in which UAE Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan was stating something the British public are probably all too aware of, but our leaders would never say.
There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
Al Nahyan continued that Saudi Arabia is more keen to fight terrorism than the Europeans. The voices we hear calling for murder and shedding blood and stealing the wealth of people are in London, Germany, Spain and Italy, he said. And there is a reason for this, something that's not really mentioned in our media. If you look at most of the extremist activity and terrorist attacks we've had in the UK and Europe for that matter, you'll see that many extremists are actually first-generation Muslims. Most of them, if you look into their lives, were weed-smoking degenerates and criminals who adopted Islam as a hero path, a pre-made path that they can step into in their own warped ideology. This confused warrior path gave them some sense of righteous indignation against Europe or against the societies in which they could never make it. Now, some people on the liberal side use this as an excuse to say, well, this is just proof that Islam isn't the problem, it's just the way it's being manipulated by these lost young men. Of course, others on the other side just simply say this is evidence that Islam is an extremist religion in its very nature. Personally, I'd say the truth is somewhere in the middle, but one thing that we can't ignore is that Islam is and always has been a warrior religion. Now, I don't say that as a pejorative. I think elements of the Christian tradition have warrior-like dimensions, although Islam does seem to go a step further. Take, for instance, Prophet Muhammad himself. He was a warrior. He did keep slaves. He also kept sex slaves. Now, these don't make foundations for a nice, modern, liberal religion, and our leaders either know this or they just actively ignore it, pretending that all religions are fundamentally the same. Yet you only have to scratch beneath the surface to see that the traditions are not the same. Hinduism and Buddhism, for instance, have this almost divine acceptance to the flow of life. Sikhism, famously, is a warrior religion too, but in response to the attacks of Muslims. So you might ask the question, where does this moniker that Islam is the religion of peace come from? Is it in the Quran? The Hadith, maybe? Well, no, it's in neither. It comes from George Bush. Now, what George Bush and the rest of the Western leaders following him are trying to do by repeating this moniker, religion of peace, all the time, is to try and integrate Islam into the modern Western liberal order. So until we start dealing with Islam as it actually is, rather than the way that the liberal order wants it to be, we're going to continue to have difficulties. Every now and again, the political mainstream will realise it's a problem, usually when an MP gets attacked. But when the people get attacked, that's not a problem. It's just a religion of peace. And as the Sheikh pointed to, the longer we continue this PC charade, the more problems and trouble we're going to have. Thank you for watching this video. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if these themes are of interest to you, please do consider subscribing to the channel.